A voice just appears in your head with a certain timbre, a certain intonation. It might even make you do something.
He wanted to shock the public with some provocative actions. There were some statements rude and obscene, or frying insects in a pan.
I kept thinking, mental hospital. Well, what hospital? Seriously? I just need a pill, I'm fine. I wash my hands.
Vampire disease is a rare genetic disorder that can be inherited. It may appear in your life or it may not. I started having pain, had 2 diagnostic surgeries that found nothing, but the pain persisted and nothing helped. I just had a stomachache. Mentally, I started to show symptoms, but I didn't tell anyone because I was afraid, of course. What if I was there? I had a job, but I felt like I had just lost myself. Plus, my vision was getting blurry. That is, it's one of the signs of mental illness. About 1.5 years ago, I also started having some visual hallucinations, you could say, and it seemed to me that someone was talking to me. A voice just appears in my head with a certain timbre and intonation. It might even make you do something, but my psychologist told me you need to befriend the voices, because they're all a product of our imagination. They come from us.
The best way to explain is with the Zemfira lyric, I'm tired of being hurt by people. I always had the feeling that people, they're all just wrong. And maybe that's why I want to wash them off of me. My illness showed itself when I was 18. It was my 2nd year at university. It began appearing for me in the dorm. When I got a dorm room at the university, I was again assigned to live with girls who weren't pleasant for me. I never had the desire for order. I was the teenager with a messy room and I lived with it just fine. At first, I would fold my things neatly. Then I started organizing them by color. After that, I began arranging them by color in a straight line and even fitting them to an A4 sheet. I started dusting daily, then increased to twice a day. At first, I started washing my hands for 5 minutes, which was already a long time. Then it got to the point where I was washing up to my elbows for 15 minutes until my skin would start to bleed. The time I spent washing my hands increased from 1 minute to 15 minutes. It kept getting longer over the course of a year. Initially, I blamed it on my new perfectionism. When I began washing my jacket after each university trip and became too afraid to go because everything felt dirty, I couldn't keep up with my studies. I had to wash all my clothes by hand when I got home since I didn't have a washing machine.
My very first flare-up happened after my grandmother and grandfather passed away. I made a suicide attempt. It was more of a spontaneous thing, and I wasn't fully aware of what I was doing. I was having very strong hallucinations. At first, my thoughts started to get confused, and then I began to have all sorts of delusional ideas. My mom has a brother, my uncle, and I felt like he was following me. I felt like he was about to break into the house and do something to me. I felt him behind me, like it made me jump. I broke the glass and jumped from the 3rd floor. I only remember riding in the ambulance, being taken to the hospital, and then waking up in the intensive care unit. At first I didn't realize I had any fractures, nothing hurt at all. When I came to my senses, I mostly felt regret about what I had done.
I used to be a hardcore internet troll, but it was kind of like an obsessive habit. I was impressed by something and decided to shock people a bit. At the same time, in real life, I was timid, secretive, and constantly afraid of something. And I found out that I had paranoid schizophrenia completely by accident. But I had to go through testing. Back then, I could get a job as a designer at a company for people with disabilities.
The main warning sign was my prior diagnosis in 5th grade, trichotillomania. I began pulling out my eyelashes and eyebrows. My mom took me to a dermatologist who said everything was fine. My mom noticed I was doing it myself and scheduled a psychologist appointment. I went for a while, saw no real results, and eventually it all stopped. I accepted it, my mom accepted it, we just kind of started living with it.
I was a pretty aggressive child, with mood swings and bursts of anger. I constantly wanted everyone to just leave me alone. but at the same time I wanted to shock people with some provocative actions. There were some statements, rude and obscene, made in front of adults or frying insects in a pan. My parents noticed, well, my strange behavior, and already when I was 6 years old they registered me with the authorities. At Bekterev, which I don't recall, they criticized, scolded and even slapped me on the head. Well, I felt some kind of satisfaction from the negative emotions of others. I fed off it like some kind of energy vampire, like a troll. But fortunately, somewhere between the ages of 12 and 15, well, it somehow started to fade away for me. I became more empathetic, I stopped tormenting insects, and especially stopped bothering pets. I got guinea pigs at home.
Now I realized that the first warning signs could have been the depression I had since I was 13. I remember being very closed off from people. Well, that's probably the first and main thing, just being closed off from people.
My life was completely ordinary. Like all children, I first went to kindergarten. My illness started right after I finished school, that same summer, you could say, when I had already submitted my documents to college. I had my first flare-up.
I reached Novinky already nearly hysterical. All my clothes had been washed, everything was just washed, so I had to go wearing my boyfriend's clothes. I was already crying and my hands were cracked. I was just saying, please, do something. I thought they would give me some pills and everything would be fine, but they told me to lie down. For me, it just felt like being hit on the head with an axe. I was like, what do you mean? The word mental hospital was in my head, like I'm going to be put in a mental hospital? I mean, what? What? I said, what mental hospital? Seriously, I just need a pill, I'm fine, I wash my hands, what's your problem? They admitted me right away, no waiting. I was in the newcomers elite ward, as everyone joked, so I wasn't with any Napoleons or similar people. That month was one of acceptance and realization. Of course, thanks to the doctor who explained to me what was happening to me. After the news, I told my parents that I needed psychotherapy. Well, otherwise I just know there are no other ways, I'm sorry, please. We had small savings, about $1,000 to $1,500, just some parental savings, that's it. While they lasted, I was seeing a psychotherapist. It helped me at least be able to leave the house normally.
After my first hospitalization, I was prescribed medication and therapy. I took them at first. I went back to college, finished a cooking course, and then a pastry chef course. And after that, I felt really good and decided that I didn't need the medication anymore. I didn't tell my psychiatrist about it and stopped taking them. And it turned out that I had another breakdown. One day, or rather at night, I attacked my mom. I hit her. My mom called an ambulance and the police. My mom ended up with a concussion and I was taken to Novinky. Right now, my treatment consists of taking an antidepressant and an antipsychotic. Despite the medication, there are still some residual symptoms. Sometimes I still feel like people are talking about me.
In Belarus, only 6 people have my condition. There are no treatment centers for this disease. My treatment consists of leading a healthy lifestyle, not taking certain medications, and getting psychological support. In the hospital, they can only give me intravenous drips. Well, that's how it is for now. That's why I can go to the clinic or day hospital for an intravenous drip. As for psychological help, talking to people and seeing psychologists.
For a while, I thought there was some kind of conspiracy against me, and I stopped taking my pills. Well, after that I became more sensitive, started sleeping worse, my pulse increased, and overall there was more stress. This unpleasant story ended with me fighting my father. And after that I decided that it's better not to experiment with stopping my medication. Now I take one antipsychotic and... well, there's still a bit of a tendency to be provocative again. Well, and also contradictions in my thinking, like today I love, tomorrow I don't, and the day after tomorrow I'll come up with something else.
My family knows everything, so everything is fine. As for my friends, many of them didn't understand. Many still don't understand me, because there have been really big changes. I feel like a completely different person, but I always considered myself a very good friend. But there came a moment when I just wanted to speak out, especially after this illness appeared, to tell them everything that had been weighing on me, for example. Well, many people distanced themselves because of this, and I thought that was how it should be. My neighbors support me a lot. I mean, they saw that I was walking around weak, maybe doing some strange things, and now they've started supporting me.
Distant relatives still don't really understand what's happening with me. They even told my mom that I made it up just so I wouldn't have to study at university, so I could stay in the hospital, as if there wasn't an easier way. That's right, Faker, what's all this? Anyway, they still think that way. At first, my mom felt the same way while she saw I was in the hospital and spoke with the doctors who... they said, hello ma'am, this is serious. She began to listen and now she seems to understand. Well, I mean, she realizes that I have obsessive compulsive disorder, but again, not completely. My father quietly accepted it, as if he'd been told I had bronchitis and just thought, okay, we need a doctor and medicine. Well, something like that.
After I hit my mom, she talked to me about it. My mom forgave me. She said she understands that it happened because my illness got worse, and she's not mad at me anymore. My dad visited me in the hospital. He's very worried about me. My mom and dad love and protect me very much. My friends support me a lot.
Supports me. At least my father supports me and gives good advice. Our relationship has improved. Well, and my friend helps me too. I consider her my unrequited love. She takes me out to different events, like a sports run, for example. It really supports me emotionally.
At that time, I had a boyfriend. We'd been together for about 5 years, a long school romance. At first, he tried to fight this with me. He bravely scrubbed the walls with me at night. He saw it all. I would have breakdowns, falling down, having fits, screaming, even scratching my face. Just because that's how I am. Well, I understand that it's really hard to go through something like this, especially when you started out dating a normal girl. And obviously it just became impossible. Let's just say it built up little by little, and basically he couldn't take it anymore. So we had to break up.
I was single for a long time, then started a relationship with someone who truly understood me. I was in intensive care for a long time, but he really supported me. I mean, he helped me get back on my feet. His presence helped me get through the scariest moments, especially the mental ones.
My fear of women appeared because my mom used to beat me a lot when I was a child. That's actually why I've never had a relationship. Nevertheless, I plan to overcome this phobia, get married to a very beautiful, caring, and most importantly, healthy girl. I plan to have 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy, and I want the boy to be the oldest.
For now, I don't have a life partner. I dream about having a family. I want a big family with at least 3 children. But I think I should get better first and only then start thinking about having a family.
Right now I have a boyfriend who, let's say, almost completely accepts my obsessive-compulsive disorder. We live together and he helps correct my behavior, so to speak. There aren't any real problems. He washes his hands and knows it's necessary. Some areas in the apartment are for guests. Guests come to our kitchen and sometimes to the bathroom and the living room. No one goes into our bedroom. That's just for me, my own space. There's an even better space than the bedroom, my half of the closet. No one is allowed in, breathe, or open the doors. When I leave, just so everyone understands, I tape it shut. Only a few people can use my bathroom. It's a small, select group. It's hard to explain this to people I don't know well. Yeah, it's embarrassing and I'm ashamed. For example, my boyfriend's uncle might not understand, though he knows about the diagnosis.
And I feel so awkward all the time, like he goes to our bathroom and then now I make new friends mostly through the open house mental health support center. Outside the center, I mostly communicate with people without mental health conditions online. At first I don't talk about my condition, but then I think that if I find people whom I feel it's necessary to tell, then I will tell them.
Right now it's pretty hard for me to meet new people. Well, I mostly just wait for fate to bring them my way. Well, I gradually start communicating with them and opening up. Before, I used to say right away that I was schizophrenic, but now I've become more careful about it.
I don't think it's something that needs to be hidden. I don't understand how people even manage to hide it, because it's actually hard. I mean, how can you even hide it? Usually almost right after meeting someone, I explain, like, I'm Lucia, I have obsessive compulsive disorder, I explain that I have these kinds of problems, so please don't touch me with your hands. That's it. Sometimes it happens suddenly, like when someone approaches, extends their hand, and you push them away. They may think something is wrong with them, or that you're just being arrogant. Right away, again, I clarify this moment immediately. I say, the problem isn't you, the problem is me. Everything's fine, air kiss, everything's great, you're awesome, I'm the one with the problem. I often explain to people that it's neither their fault nor a problem. There's nothing to be ashamed of here. People are very embarrassed about obsessive compulsive disorder. I try to explain to them that, for example, if you robbed an old lady, that's bad, that's something to be ashamed of, that's a big no-no. But having obsessive compulsive disorder, you haven't done anything wrong, it's not your fault. And to move forward, you need to accept it, and people around you should also be aware of this. Because otherwise, it will just be uncomfortable for you to live, and when you're uncomfortable, it will naturally be harder for you to move forward. For some reason, people from in former Commonwealth of Independent States countries, people fear psychotherapists, antidepressants, or being registered, making various excuses, but there's no reason to be afraid. I don't know, maybe you'll be able to recover on your own, but it will make your life much easier if you just go to a doctor. Remember, obsessive compulsive disorder is your issue, not others. It's also very important that you shouldn't force your loved ones to do all those strange things that you do. No, they shouldn't do it. It just took me a very long time to realize that no one should have to do that.
I want to advise that healthy people, those without a diagnosis, treat us with more tolerance so that there is no indifference.
For those who notice that something is wrong with them, some symptoms, I would first of all advise them to open up to their loved ones. Well, if they are understood in their family, then maybe they should turn to psychologists, or if psychologists can't help, then to a psychotherapist. Positive examples of people who have overcome this and live happily, as they say, no matter what, are very encouraging. Live your life, enjoy it, and ignore others.